Well, hello my friends. Alfredo here, back with, I gotta say, it is going to be a surprise to me as to exactly what this piece is going to look like. Started this yesterday, and I took one of the new logs that I received from my neighbor, which was Sycamore, and were infested with termite. Well, my neighbor down the road happened to cut another huge sycamore. And the sycamore, when I was grabbing what she had, I saw some pieces that I thought would make for something interesting. What I didn't realize is what had created all these crevices on all this wood. I was, to say the least, disappointed. And my idea is actually was to encase some of these, fill up some of these crevices with some of that two-part epoxy or resin. And that is what I want to do. I figure that will make something really, really interesting. I already cut this one down more or less the size of what I wanted. Now, the drawback is that what created all these holes were termites. I mean, this wood was just infested. They were crawling, they were flying, you name it. There were a lot of winged termites on all this wood, and that does scare me. I don't like termites. I don't even like the look of them, and I definitely don't like the destruction they do. So, but still, what I want to do with this piece is I want to encase all of this with some two-part resin, and then turn it and let these play out. Okay, so I'm going to fill up each one of these 3 times and mix it up into that clay pot. One, maybe 4. 2. 3. 3 times is good. One. Part A is thicker than part B. Oh, there it is. 3 of these on each one. And again, stir it up. And this one, I wanted to put just a glitter, but I'm going to go a little heavier on it. This will keep the glitter blue by itself, or that teal by itself, against the clear resin. Well, okay, so I got it roughed out. I'm going to clear some of this up so I can lighten it up a little bit, get it a little bit more balanced than what it is, and so I can speed it up slightly. The colors, I'm not sure if they're going to show off. I know that I had the red as the first pour, but I didn't know that it got pushed out and started floating up. So this will probably have a mix going through once you start seeing me cutting through here. Let's see if that's what, in fact, what I have in there. And not just a blob of color. I hope that's not the case. Well, playing with something new, I can tell you, if you're not familiar with it or cutting it, this resin becomes hard as a rock. So I know for a fact it's going to take a few sharpenings of the tool before I get anywhere close to being done on this. Okay, with a mishap like that, you change plans. You can see that this was a weak point going through here. So you change plans, this becomes the bottom of the bowl, and you will turn the upper side downwards. So let's screw this up and get rid of this. I mean, unless you want to discard it, you know, something like that, you might want to discard it, but me, no, I got too much time invested into this piece, and I still think that this will give me some good interest points on this. So, go in here, definitely be able to speed it up now, and get much cleaner cuts. So, out of a loss, there's a gain. Okay, so seeing that this is the bottom, I have to take a little bit more from the stop edge. I'm going to get rid of this now. And this will be the bottom. I got a nice tenon over here, which will be the foot actually. I'll turn this all down up to that. Once at the end. Basta. Then I want to do this. I'll be back in a little bit. I'm gonna let this cure up, and I'm gonna fill the rest of this with epoxy. Quick dry epoxy. Well, I'm back. Feeling a little cooler. The AC's been running in here for a little while. I'm gonna shut it off because of the noise that it makes. So anyway, I've had this piece that flew away, and I have a couple of voids, small voids, that I want to address at this point before I finalize the shape of this. I have very little to go. So I'm going to take it off, and I'm going to fill this up with a 5-minute epoxy. And I will turn it around, of course, and get it going on its right side. Regardless of what comes out of it, it should be a pretty nice looking piece. Well, I also picked up some 5-minute epoxy online with stuff just like this. I used to buy this at Home Depot, and they had it readily available. Not anymore. Don't know why they discontinued it. It's a good product. It's a good product. Was readily available over there, and I have no idea why they discontinued such a thing. But I picked up 3 online, and it should last me a little bit. Gonna give it about 5 minutes for it to thoroughly dry, and not cure, just dry. it will lose its tackiness, and it will cut fairly easy. And then I'll be able to just do a light scraping on this, hopefully, and it should all be filled up, and see where it goes from there. Be back in a minute. Okay, I put it up and I've actually scraped this side already a little bit. And I was testing out the 80 grit sandpaper, seeing what it did, and making sure that I didn't have a problem where that was seamed up. I could see it prior to the sanding and prior to the silicone to the grinding, but it actually looks pretty good. So that cutter gives me a nice transition edge on the inside of this. Gotta be careful not to get a catch because this could possibly blow out. What I'm achieving in here is already pretty good. I gotta go just a little bit more, and I'm down to about here. So I gotta go another half inch thickness, and down at the bottom I gotta go another inch. I went down about 3/4 of an inch with that cut. Oh my dear. Oh my goodness, that's it. I cannot go any deeper on that. I'll be seeing daylight on this one. Yep, I can see through. That's what I wanted. Fairly thin. All the way through, nice and smooth on the inside. No real ridges. If you take your time and go with your tool, and you can feel any ridges as you're going in and out, and you really can get them all the way down with your hollowing tool like that. You need a good steady hold, so therefore the handle is what gives you that stability. So definitely something worthy. Now, I've noticed that adding CA to the epoxy, it absorbs a little bit and it makes it somewhat more translucent. I'm not saying that it's going to strengthen it, because I think it's strong enough, but I think it will help me on the finer grits on the sanding. So right now this is only sanded with 80 grit, and I did a little bit of scraping actually after that, so the scraping can actually be better than the sanding, because you don't get the little fibers, but you just don't get that gloss that you're looking for, that you will achieve with the finer grits of the sandpaper. So for now, I'm gonna see what the finer grits start giving me on this. I want this to be fairly translucent, where I can see inside of the piece, I hope. Okay, gonna start sanding 120. let's see what the Yorkshire grit, superfine or microfine Yorkshire grit, what it does for this acrylic. Now that should be the test of tests. We all know what it can do for wood. Well, I think it's translucent. I think it did its job. Not having anything else to compare to, I don't know where else I could possibly do to this. Now I know that this side, this piece right here, that's the piece that came off, and unfortunately I got a little bit of a fog, or should I say a separation, which shows as white in there. And so that was a learning experience with this. Hopefully next time it won't chip away. It's unfortunate on that, but it will hold. It will pretty much stay together. But it's an area of disappointment. I wish that hadn't happened, but the fact that it did, and I was able to put it back together, is not a complete waste. But it was definitely a great learning experience on this one, because I won't do that again. As a matter of fact, next time I'll on the cuts you have to go a little bit more gentle when you're roughing it up. You really have to consider the fact that this might blow up or it might crack like glass under the pressure. The acrylic definitely becomes much harder than I thought it did. I would think that it would be always a little bit, I don't know, somewhat of a rubbery cut. Not so much, but more like a plastic, where it would have a little flexibility to it, slight. And there's no flexibility to this. It becomes hard. It becomes like a rock. So in here, this is the area that's clear with the glitter. That's what I see here. But going through here, I don't see any glitter yet. It's blue, so that's the areas that I use more of the blue mix. Well, the red that I mixed up, well, I don't know if I see any. Maybe down here, there's a slight hint of it. But it really blended in. It was so little of it. It blended in with the other stuff and really didn't give me the separation that I was looking for. So there will be a little bit of experimenting with this in the future. And perhaps that what it needs is a little bit more time between the pours. So one gets to settle a little bit. You leave that color alone. And while it's still tacky but somewhat has a body to it, that's when I would go in and add a secondary color or whatever. But I was hoping was that it would be infused in each other, that it would be streaky, and you know, and a little bit of separation, not what it gave. But as soon as I was pouring it, I had a funny feeling that was going to happen, because the top layer just pushed the bottom one completely out of the way, so it just really blended in there. A shame. Well, I must say, I think that it gave me something interesting. Again, the area that it's separated, I'm not happy with that, which is all the way out here and the base around over here. You can see my finger, how far up I'm cut on this. So I am 3/8 of an inch from the edge. And the inside really is pretty nice. Well, I'll be back with this one in a little bit. For now, I'm going to take another break out of here.